Academica Media. From Academica Media Studios in Miami, Florida, it's Big Ideas in Education, a weekly recap of inspiration and innovation in your schools.
Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm Ryan Kairalla. Esports programs are growing throughout education, with a growing number of K-12 schools setting up co-curricular and even competitive athletics programs for it. One of the leaders in building campus esports programs is the Lethbridge School Division in Alberta, Canada, who has encouraged these initiatives to help students who are seeking opportunities to grow in this booming industry. Here to talk to us about this phenomenon is Johny Mantello, the IT coordinator for the Lethbridge School Division. Johny, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Ryan. Great to be with you. Super excited to talk to you about esports.
I am too. I am endlessly fascinated by this topic. Both as a very poor gamer, but somebody who's still very passionate about it, and also somebody who has gotten to see firsthand how a lot of schools have benefited and how school culture has benefited from bringing esports programs in. I've seen some of this here in South Florida and now with some of the schools that I work with in Las Vegas, Nevada. And I'm excited to get to talk to an expert about it. So let me hear it from you, since you're working on this stuff on the ground. Why esports in schools? What is it about the educational setting that makes esports a good place for schools to be?
Well, it's an interesting take because we know that esports has this kind of bubble over it. Why are kids doing esports in school or gaming in school when they do it at home all the time? But the connection that we have in school is it's the team environment. It's bringing that social component to gaming, to their lifestyle. And gaming in a basement compared to gaming in a school with colleagues in a competitive level brings out a different level for our students and our kids. And it's just something that we never thought would be possible, but the benefits for our students and for our schools has been extraordinary.
I agree with you on that. I can tell you, on the ground where I am, the schools that have like the most developed esports programs where it's really infused itself in the school culture, it's really cool to see, because in some schools I've looked at, they actually treat esports like a varsity sport with all of the trimmings. I don't know if you have these in Canada, but in America, high school sports have what are called varsity letters, where you get those big thick jackets if you're an athlete, and then you get a letter. You put like a letter with the school's letter on it with like the sport that you play. Many of the schools we work with are now treating esports like another varsity sport, just like football or basketball, and the kids get varsity letters. And when the esports team competes, they have pep rallies. They have spectator sports where like all the kids will come to the gym and watch the kids compete in Rocket League or something like that. And they get, cheering on and everything. Like, what a cool experience for the students who've developed their skills in esports. And rather than just being in their basement, now get to be part of the campus community in the same way that a football, baseball, or basketball player does.
I'm excited to share the direction that we went with that. And when we initially started, it was this going to be a club? Or was this going to be a team? And we decided it was going to be a team, like you just finished discussing. This was their tryouts. There are expectations for you coming to class and making sure your grades are there. There are training sessions, physical training sessions. You go to the gym on Mondays and Wednesdays and build yourself up that way. And there's a pride in the students now. They have jerseys, so their team esports jerseys are part of the belonging. When the school has jersey day and the football guys are wearing their jerseys and the basketball guys are wearing their jerseys, our esports team guys are also wearing their jerseys. And so it brings that belonging to the school.
And it does. And this isn't just about indulging a niche in athletics. I believe I read this somewhere that esports is actually now the most popular spectator sport among young people. So if you are creating an esports program on your campus, really what you're doing is you're just meeting these kids where they are. Like, this is their favorite spectator sport. So why wouldn't you make this a spectator sport on your campus the same way you're doing with football or baseball?
You're absolutely right. It is a showcase. It's a showcase for these kids and their talent as well. And being able to have a platform for kids to showcase this talent on a grand scale. I can tell you in 2024, we held the first ever Alberta eSports Championship here in Lethbridge. And there were 320 odd students that came from across Canada, because we had some people in Ontario come to participate in this event. We believe it was one of the first in all of Canada to host this, from middle school students to high school students, to showcase what they have in front of parents, family, the community, and broadcast it out and about. So it's something that's growing. But you're right, kids, this is their focus. This is what they enjoy watching and being part of.
And you had mentioned this before, but I have to learn more about this. I want to make sure we don't give this short shrift. I believe you had indicated that the training process for these esports athletes, the ones that try out and they make the team, it sounds pretty similar to what any other kind of varsity athlete would do. You have them practicing, scrimmaging, going to the gym. Are they're watching game film, I'm guessing? Like they have a full
100%.
practice load like any other athlete.
Absolutely. Monday is in the gym and you're actually lifting weights and doing cardio. Tuesday is gameplay, rehearsal, maybe tape review of the team you'll be playing on Wednesday. Thursday is reviewing the gameplay that you had on the Wednesday. It is very similar to a physical athletic sports team.
What does life after high school look like for these esports athletes in terms of opportunities? I know that esports and just the gaming industry in general is growing. There are scholarship opportunities for esports. When you are creating programs like this, do you have those future opportunities in mind for those kids?
We do, and the success that we had in our first couple of years once we started, by our students getting Div 1 offers, Div 2 offers to universities in the United States, and then around in Canada getting offers for students for esports to game, is incredible. And that was a component that parents, grandparents, community did not fully understand, that this wasn't just something they were doing and playing as a game. They could actually move into schooling to pursue this passion, this goal, and get schooling as part of it. It's remarkable.
And psychologically, what does this do for the self-esteem of these kids?
Yeah,
I think in a lot of ways we tend to associate video games with being a introvert's activity. You're alone in your house, or maybe you're talking to people online, but you're not getting out into the world. Esports sort of flips that on its head, especially if a school wraps their arms around it as an initiative and make it a school-wide activity. I mean, I just envision these esports students just being the big men and women on campus.
it's great to see. And you're right. You're 100% right. They now have a voice. They're now seen in their school because of what you said. This was a sport that was basically done in their basement. Now it's a school participating sport, and they're out there and they're seen. And I'll tell you a quick story. And it's a family that said to us after one of the tournaments, and they said, we've never seen our son and our grandson in anything other than a Christmas concert where they had to be part of it. And here they are now showcasing their talent in gaming for everybody. And it brought such joy to the family that it kind of it gave us in the school division the correct mark that we hit the spot when we added esports to our division.
I will say that a lot of schools are buying into this vision. I'm hearing principals all the time saying, I see the value here. I see how this can be something that we want to have on our campus. We want this kind of culture. We think that there are students who would get engaged by this. But they often will say the same thing. I don't know how to get started with this. I, as a school principal, don't know the first thing about gaming or esports. I don't know what I'm supposed to buy, what resources I need. Am I buying Xboxes? Am I buying PCs? When a school leader comes to you and says, I want to do this, but I don't have the first clue how to get started, what do you tell them?
So when we started in 2019 and 2020 with this journey, we had a committee to look at those questions that you just asked. And we figured what devices could we use per grade level and sense. And we thought, okay, a Nintendo Switch would be perfect for Smash Brothers, and that would be great for our elementary schools and our middle school, junior high schools. And then we could look at PCs for our higher end gaming, and that would be for our high schools. And when we did all that, we thought, okay, that'd be perfect to have the Nintendos for that gaming title. That could also be used for Rocket League, but we needed a high end PC. We went with the Lenovo Legion gaming PC for this, to make sure that the tools that we provide the students also would benefit them in competing. So when we talk to a school, we could say to the administrators, it'll cost you a Switch and a couple monitors and some Pro controllers, maybe $1,000. When it came to the gaming PCs for our high schools, we actually looked at it and said, these PCs should be multifunctional. So during the school day, they could be used in our CTS programming. So they could be used for multi-purposes of, Adobe stuff, high-end graphics, all that kind of stuff. And then in the evenings, we could use it for gaming. So the multi-purpose purchase of this PC really was an attractive give to the schools.
But I mean, even if you are buying standalone equipment, it sounds like the upfront investment for something like this is very much within the budget of a lot of schools, especially if you were to compare the budget outlay required for, say, a varsity football team or a basketball team or something like that, and all the resources that go with that. It's, in a lot of ways it can be comparable or even a lot more affordable, particularly if it's just a one-time kind of cost for a lot of that equipment.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just like those sports you talked about, you will have to upgrade a graphic card and those types of things, keyboards and other peripherals that go with it. But if you are in the school and accepting eSports as a sports program, like your football and volleyball, those costs will be there.
Yeah, I don't know if how much you've all dabbled with this with your program, but I've worked with a couple schools that have actually gotten their media program involved as well, where when they do Rocket League matches, they have a broadcast, a pregame show, a postgame show. The students are doing play-by-play commentary, which for somebody like me is really important because I don't know what the heck is going on with some of these games. Like, I need somebody to explain to me what's going on.
It's great, and we do have that. We have made that. We've made the investment into the shoutcasting part of it. So we now have kids that love to be part of esports, aren't great gamers, but how can they be part of it? Now they're doing the graphics before the event. They're doing the shoutcasts. They're doing the interviews with the kids. It's become a very nicely wrapped project.
And I know a big thing that a lot of schools can do to meet some of those budgetary obligations or tech needs is reach out to corporate partners. I think Lethbridge has been a leader in that, like bringing in the business community to help get these programs off the ground, right?
Yeah, we have. We've been blessed that we've had Lenovo come in and give a sponsorship for our teams to be part of their league. Epson's been a great sponsor with us. Their touch screens have been great for the kids to go and review plays. And when we had our championship, they also provided the hardware for us to showcase the kids' stuff. The community involvement was also amazing when we had our event. The support of our mom and pop shops just on the kids' jersey to support their students has been phenomenal.
I gotta say, I have never been more jealous of today's school children and have wanted to go back to school more than this current generation and the esports gaming opportunities that they have. This is awesome. What a great initiative, both in terms of what it allows these students to get to do on their campus, how it builds culture, and the future opportunities that you are creating for these kids, both in and outside of gaming. I love this. What a cool initiative. For the folks who want to learn more, you seem like somebody who is willing to spread the gospel about this and help anybody who needs the help. How can people reach out to you?
Sure, they can check me out on my LinkedIn page and reach me that way. They could go to our website. It's Lethbridge School Division, lethsd.ab.ca. They can reach us there. Any way possible, if they can find my name, just Google it. We're happy to help.
Very good. Be sure to check this out, people. This is only going to continue to grow. We are not that far away than I think from every school having some version of this because the value is just so clear and obvious. Johny, I've loved this conversation. I'm such a fan of this initiative, and I'm loving to see it grow thanks to leaders like you. Before we let you go, sir, I got one last question for you.
Sure.
If with the snap of your fingers you could make any change to the education system, what change would it be?
Well, I think, Ryan, it would be funding for projects like this, funding for technology in our schools. Technology used to be a nice to have in our buildings, and now it's a must have. So that would be my snap of the finger answer, would be more funding for technology in our schools.
That is a fantastic snap, Johny. Thank you so much for joining us this week and for giving us your perspective.
Thank you for having me, Ryan. I'm glad we could share our info and our knowledge here at Lethbridge School Division.
And thank you all for checking out Big Ideas in Education.
The views expressed on the preceding program have been those of the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect the views of Academica, its clients, staff, affiliates, or advertisers.